This is one question that I normally get a lot, is what type of poultry farming is the best. And in terms of type, what people are asking is about difference between which is best between poultry farming for eggs and poultry farming for meat, that is keeping broilers or layers. And the other thing that people ask is which kind of setup is the best, for poultry farming. Do you the enclosed, that is where the chicken is just in a room and they don't have access to outside. Semi enclosed, where they go to sleep some inside the house, but they're still enclosed, but they still have access to fresh air and something like that, which is what I have. And then free range, where they have a section to sleep and they're free to roam around the whole of your farm. So today I'll focus more on the setup. Then I'll create another video for you guys for the type, which is the difference between which is good between poultry and poultry farming for meat, which is broilers, keeping broilers, and keeping layers. I will be taking you through that in our next video. So see you next. Closed type of farming, poultry farming. For this type of farming, it has its fair share of challenges, because of course it's one of the most beneficial one, probably, I think, or I assume. So it's probably one of the most beneficial, because I've seen most people prefer that. Most people want to do that kind of farming. And this kind of farming, sorry about the noise, my farm is very close to the road, just in my background here. So with this kind of farming, of course, you have a lot of things like disease control is easy to manage. Your chicken are not exposed to things like cold, to things like basically bad weather or something like that. So basically it's like a greenhouse aspect of poultry farming, assuming it's yes, basically I know you get what I'm trying to say. So with that, like with greenhouse, you can be able to control some aspects of things like nature, about temperatures and all that. You can be able to, if you want to, you can be able to easily manage that. But with any other like semi-enclosed and or free range, you are basically at the mercy of the climate. So especially even for people like for people who are in countries like that experience a lot of like winter and all that, very cold winters, the minus degrees and all that, you can still manage with your heating. If you are running an enclosed system of chicken farming, then you can easily be able to manage then the temperatures and all that, because you'll need to provide like air conditioning and all that for your chicken, because with an enclosed system, it's more like an artificial kind of setup. So with enclosed, then there are other in-depths of different systems with enclosed, and one of them is where they put chicken in cages, where you have the battery cages. They call it battery cages, I think. Yes, battery cages, where the cages that can hold probably around 8 to 10 chickens or something like that. And it's within a certain a building, like a warehouse or something like that. So with this type of enclosed system, I find it's not really ethical, in my view. That is in my view. I find it not really ethical, because you'll have put the chicken in an enclosed environment and still put it like in another prison. So basically that's how I look at it. So but people are making money with it and people are okay running it, but for me that is not a thing that I will consider. The other aspect is enclosed, is where you have an open-ended enclosed, where your chicken, basically in this warehouse, like a chicken coop that you've created, like a warehouse or something like that, a very long building with a lot of aerations and all that, then you have these chickens are free to roam from one end to the other end. This one to me is a little bit better. It's a little bit ethical to some aspect, because you're giving chicken time. Even they can exercise, they can walk around. I don't know if they can have high fives. So if chickens can have high fives or high beaks or something like that, whatever they call it in the chicken world, so you give them that environment where they can be able to have that interaction, even the fighting part and all that. So with this kind of enclosed where it is open-ended, this is what we actually want to implement in one of our chicken coops. So like I've given you that one of the main advantages for the enclosed platform is you have more control of who is getting into the building, to the chicken house, the diseases. You can do a lot of, it is easy to manage in terms of the in managing diseases and all that. And the other advantage is you have everything in one place, which is still similar to the second system that I will be taking you through, which is what we have. So with the other advantage of enclosed is easy control of like the environment, the temperatures and all that. So if you are in a climate where it is extremely cold, this brings me to I call it the hybrid version. The hybrid version is where you have enclosed setup and semi-enclosed, but basically semi-enclosed and enclosed, and like a semi free range. Okay, so semi free range. So with this kind of setup is where your chicken, like what I have now, is my chicken are free to roam around in the feeding area, in the drinking area. So and then in their laying area, they of course it's protected, so there is no water that will come to the laying area or the sleeping area. So your chicken will basically, but again, the area that they feed on and drink on, it's surrounded and protected with mesh wire, chicken wire and all that. So you don't have these chicken don't go out, they don't roam around the field. The only part they are, if it is the size of a football field, so they will only have access to that section only. So and within that section that you have put them in, the house is very close. So you've seen my setup. I will show you my setup again, and that is what I call semi-enclosed. So with this kind of setup, I prefer it somehow because it gives, as much as the other open-ended enclosed type of system gave chicken access, ability to walk around in the house, in the chicken coop. With my aspect, they can walk around in the chicken coop and they can walk around in the field. So there is a section in the feeding area and the drinking area where they can walk around, they can play with sand, they can play with dirt, they can play, basically it's like they have some kind of freedom. So the thing is, with this exposure to climate, different aspects of climate, then they have exposure again to diseases. It's easier for them to get sick. So that is one of the things that you will be getting. As much as you'll be giving them free time, free environment to play around with, then the other thing that you'll be dealing with is basically you will be dealing with diseases, because they will be exposed to that cold, they'll be exposed to dirty water. Sometimes mine, I think you saw in my other previous video for the drinking, setting up the drinking pen, so they'll be exposed to that, and they'll be exposed to bad drinking water that is dirty or something like that. So those are some of the things that you may be looking at. The other thing, I love this clip. It makes these leaves that are going down to the ground. Let me show you. This is the eucalyptus tree that is that has the white bark and has very nice aroma. So okay, back to the video. The other thing is You will need to construct your environment, your feeding area, your drinking area, your chicken drinking area, in a way that is somehow like if it's raining and it rains on the chicken feed, then after some time, then that feed that starts to rot because it has fish meal inside it and all that. So fish is easy to actually get bad. So you need to protect that to some extent, so that your chicken don't get contagious diseases from or infections from this feed. So that's one of the things that you need to look at. Again, the water, the drinking water, you need to ensure that that drinking water, the water that the section that they drink in, does not get any contamination to it, or minimal contamination. So those are some of the things. And what we do a lot is we do a lot of deworming of our chicken. We do a lot of deworming. We deworm our chicken, I think, after every actually after every 1 month. So we ensure that we do deworming after every 1 month. And this prevents, this makes the chicken have that, and what we've noticed is there was a time that we took 2 months to deworm our chicken, and they reduce egg production. So that is one of the things that you may need to look at again if you're running a setup like mine. So if your chicken, you see that they are not laying and you've not dewormed them, then one of the things that you need to do is deworming them. The other thing that I noticed with chicken is, in my environment, they started getting bumble foot. Bubble foot is where the foot will have there's like an infection to that foot with some of the chicken. So you need to manage that. When there's a drug that we use, we just dump the chicken's feet into that into water that has been mixed with that medicine, and then that actually removes that infection. So you need to be doing that a lot. So you can see it's more labor intensive doing that. So as compared to I have friends who have actually the enclosed version. They don't do any of those things unless it's really like you see the chicken having those diseases, like they don't have issues with the feeding area, the drinking area, and all that. So this is one of the things that you will need to consider before you get into this. So that is the other issue that you'll have with the semi-enclosed version. Now let's go to the other one that which people prefer a lot, which is the free range. Free range chicken are sweet. The meat is sweet. The eggs, to some extent, they have like that natural feeling of the eggs are, I will be honest, they are a little bit better than what the semi-enclosed and the enclosed systems. But with this, they comes a lot of challenges. The challenges that I have with semi-enclosed, then add additional challenges to those. Then that is what you have with free range. Of course, it depends on where you are, where you live in. Like if you live in countries where there is winter, then with free range, you need to figure out what you'll be doing during the winter season with your chicken. Okay, how you'll be raising those chicken during the snow and all that. So environment has really huge impact on this chicken during this period. Number two is the exposure to diseases. It's easy for this chicken to actually get sick. If you have like an outbreak of Newcastle, even if you vaccinated your chicken, they will most likely get sick again if you have them in free range. So those are some of the things that you need to look at. Then you need to deworm them. Basically, like what I do on monthly basis with my enclosed one, then you need to do that, especially if you are keeping free range. You need to deworm them because you don't know where they'll go and drink the water. They'll go and drink the water somewhere. They'll go and drink the water. So unless you have protection in your farm, even if you still have that, if it rains, you'll still need to figure out how can you protect those chickens, prevent those chickens from drinking that water. So that is one of the things that you will be looking at. Again, you'll be doing a lot of, you need basically to me I feel it's a lot of headache. As much as you don't have the advantage of that is you don't have the challenge of feeding. Like my neighbor, he doesn't buy chicken feed. He has, sorry about that, some crazy motorbike guy. So Like my neighbor has around 50 chickens. They're all on free range. They don't buy chicken feed. They only buy chicken feed, like chick mash, when the chickens have actually, when they have laid eggs and they hatch the chicks. That is the only time they feed them. Once the chicks have reached 2 months, they don't feed them. So basically, it's like free world. You go and eat whatever you want. So with that comes the risk of diseases, exposure to bacteria, exposure to infection. So that is one of the challenges. But you don't have these additional costs. So for you, what you need to do, if you are keeping free range chicken, then you need to have the money that we should be used on feeding, then is the money that you will use in basically doing like treatment, just preparing yourself for treatment, preparing yourself for deworming, you prepare for them yourself for all these kinds of things. So basically, that is one of the things. It's advantageous if you have like a big farm, you're in a remote place, so you can actually have your chicken just roaming around. So but you'll have to protect again your chicken against like predators, against snakes. Now the other thing in terms of free range is chicken again will lay their eggs anywhere. Like I had free range for around, when I had around 30 chicks. I had to go and collect. I have a borehole down close to the river. My farm touches the river on the other end and touches the road on this end. So I found like around 20 eggs. My chicken had gone and laid eggs in a bush. I didn't know, and I think they stayed there for almost a month or something like that. Because by the time I got those eggs, one of the things is they were all spoiled. So those are some of the challenges that you will face. The other thing is predators. One of my chicken that was in free range again, they were eaten by, I think, a mongoose or something like that. I don't know what ate it. I don't know, it's wild dog or something. So they were eaten by predators. The other thing is, if you have these small chicks, you need to take, if you are keeping them in free range type of setup, then you need to figure out how you're going to protect them until they are around probably a month or 2 months old. Okay, because what will happen is eagles, or what do we call, let me call them eagles, will mostly eat chicken, or hawks, basically hawks. Yeah, so they'll eat. We have hawks here. Hawk is a small type of an eagle. So they'll basically eat your chicken, your chicks. They'll carry them away. So you need to protect them against that. So those are some of the things that you need to look at when you are running free range chicken. I see the improved free range chicken where somebody just fences his whole farm with chicken wire, so, or the section that they want that chicken to eat on, and basically it's a free range. The chicken can have fun, they can do all those things that they want to do in that specific restricted area. So, and I think when you want to have access to that specific area, you need to do disinfection. But again, it's counterproductive doing that, because some of these diseases will be brought by birds, not human beings. So a bird will come, basically eat or drink that water, bring that infection with them. So those are some of the things that you need to look at. So from what I've just shared, what do you think is the best setup? For me, it depends with a lot of things. So for instance, it depends with how much money you have, how many chickens you want to raise, what is your ethical preference. Basically depends with your market. So there is no exact the best setup. It's basically your preference. So it's just similar to anything. You cannot say this is the best car. Everybody likes different types of cars. So it depends on their preference. So, but those are some, I've just shared with you the advantages and disadvantages of each one of these 3 setups, so that you can look at things objectively and see which one you will prefer doing. So if you like the video, if I shared if I gave you content that was really informative to you, please like the video. Please comment, ask me questions if you have questions for me, and then also please subscribe to our channel. It helps us actually reach out to more people, because the more people subscribe, that is the more people we can actually share this information with. So until next time, thank you very much for watching. We really appreciate your viewers, and see you next time. Bye bye.